We on?
Yes.
Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 13th, 2018 meeting of the Woodbridge Traffic Authority and Board of Police Commissioners. Opening up with the Woodbridge Traffic Authority, is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard? Seeing no one or hearing no one, is there any correspondence?
No.
There are two traffic matters.
Yeah, the first one regards the Route 313 and Route 243 traffic study update. Back in April, we received a request from a resident who was asking to have the DOT install a three-way stop sign at the end of Rimmon Road where it meets Ansonia and Fountain Street there. Following that request, I had a traffic study done internally here by Sergeant Rizzuti and also with the Yukon Technology Center. Our internal study didn't support the need for the intersection, but because it's such a unique intersection with a curve and a raised island, we recommended that the residents' concern be forwarded to the Connecticut DOT. And with your approval, in June, we sent them a letter requesting them to do that. I received a report back from the state DOT, and I also spoke with their representatives, and based on all the facts that they gathered in the crash data and their site visits at the intersection, they didn't find any need to approve the request for a multi-way stop controls at that intersection. They did say, however, that there was a sufficient line of sight in both directions on 243, but in looking at it further, they're just willing to do a little bit of work there to improve it somewhat, and they said there'll be trimming overgrown vegetation, and on 313 they're going to install a stop ahead warning sign and a regulatory sign, keep right at the island there. So they'll put some extra signage and try to address it that way, but there's no need for to turn into a three-way intersection.
I have a question. What is there a, I remember asking this a couple of years ago, so forgive me. Is there a general number of accidents per month that determines this need, or is it far more subjective?
Right, so we have like, we have a matrix that you use, and it compiles everything: accident, number of vehicles, types of accident, you know, and all different data, and then they plug that all in. That's how they make their determination based on the matrix.
And how much does it cost to put in three-way stops?
I don't think it's so much what it costs. I think it's more so what it the problems that they think. I mean, it's just pretty much stop signs.
It just slows things
that it might cause that they're worried about. That's why I don't think it's warranted. And the second topic we had for the traffic authority was regarding the Overhill Road, Mill Haven Road traffic. An update on that. Our traffic study was completed, as I reported to you last month. We shared it with the traffic committee, and most recently one of their representatives is familiar with the resident and reached out to them and shared the findings of our study with them. They were very receptive to it from what I was told, and that their concerns would be addressed, and it was decided that we request that the town would install some signage on Mill Haven Road, children at play or slow children in the area signs. They were happy with that signage because it would address the issue without putting focus on some of the specifics addressed with their family. And they were good with that, and they also thought it would help with the neighbors due to the high volume of traffic as it increases with the Woodbridge Club during the summer months. So the deputy chief's going to coordinate the installation of the signs with Public Works. And that's it for traffic.
Thank you. So motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the Board of Police Commissioners. So everyone take a look at the minutes.
Yeah, make a motion to approve.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Steve?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Public comment section. Anyone from the public wish to be heard?
I would like to take a vote. Want me to sit there or want me to sit here?
You can sit there. Just mention,
Okay, feel
state your
more
name.
comfortable. Paul Schatz, 25 Dales Drive, Woodbridge.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Unlike last night, for those of you who were at the Board of Ed, where I had long prepared remarks, I just wanted to come and share. And this is certainly a lot less hostile and volatile meeting. So, our house was vandalized I can't remember what today, maybe a week ago, I was in Chicago, and my wife woke up to all kinds of stuff outside at 4:30 in the morning, blah, 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 blah. We did call the police, my wife called the FBI, it all kind of bubbled into possible hate crimes, all kinds of things have been simmering in the school system. So, what I want to say, and Frank and I have had a relationship for a long time. You cannot find a person who has more respect for police and our police, and I'm grateful to our police than I do. All of them. We hire them at the synagogue. I have a phenomenal relationship with, my view, the Woodbridge PD. Today I got to meet the SRO at the high school because I emotionally said something at the high school and he met me quickly. So during this, in the last week, the police investigated, 2 detectives had been investigating. My family's fine, nothing that a few dollars won't fix on the physical side. The emotional side is definitely deep, and my daughter came home from school hysterical at 11 o'clock this morning. And y'all know what's going on there, so I don't have to rehash it. I say this, I think in 2018, something has changed. Maybe it changed in 17, 16, 15, 14, but in the way we address, and I don't know anything about the law, but in the way we address what's going on with the kids and complaints, intertown complaints. So our house was hit. We learned subsequently because my wife posted something on Facebook. So one of the few benefits of social media, her post went everywhere. Out of the woodwork came parents who had other instances. Some reported it, some didn't. That was their decision. Several parents said they didn't report things because for fear of retribution, and they didn't feel like their kids could be safe and secure and protected. I'm not sure that's really a police matter, but y'all should be aware of it anyway. My point is, as things developed, and I was working with Mike Luzzi and AJ Capiello, they came to my office, we had a great conversation, we called the FBI, and as things developed, it just kept feeling like there wasn't enough connectivity between the towns. There were incidents in Orange regarding a gas station and the Orange Community Center. There were incidents in Bethany as well that all were tied together from the high school. And I don't know what your policies and procedures are regarding communication with other towns, but as things got reported, I kind of felt like we were informing the police a lot that was going on. There wasn't great communication between the towns. I'm not pointing fingers. I don't care who gets credit or blame. I just want to figure out a way for you guys to move forward and make progress so, God forbid, something happens again, there's a clear and almost unfettered access between towns. So it's far from over, as you all know what's been going on. There's all kinds of rumors swirling, as we discussed freely for a week. And rumors, you're never going to be able to put them down. But there's certainly a crisis at the high school, and the kids not feeling they're well protected. And the element there is almost emboldened and brazen in what's going on. And I hope the 3 towns can, I know Bethany has a state trooper, I believe, but I hope the 3 towns can get together and find some way to speed up the process. And maybe the state has to get involved, but God forbid this happens again. As I shared with many of you, I am terrified from here, and I'm a little shaky too, that the next time we speak, it'll be because it's gotten to violence, and that's where it feels like it's headed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I wasn't at the high school. Do you want to say what happened to your house? I mean, I heard about egging
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh.
If there's anything you feel like saying.
So, house got egged, there's obviously eggs everywhere, the rain helped, Some screens were broken, some window casings were broken. Nothing that was that, dramatic. It's not like they threw rocks through windows or off of a bridge and killed somebody. And so you all should know, the 5 kids who did it were at my house Saturday, and 9 parents came too. To apologize, the parents are, as you can imagine, horrified, embarrassed, and livid at their children. And I truly believe those parents were genuine, remorseful, and I think most of the kids were. I don't want to say all, because I do know what's been happening at school, and not all of them have been on their best behavior since they came over on Saturday. And while they were being punished at my house, a different group egged another house in Woodbridge. I mean, I know the father has called, it's the second time it's happened at their house in a week. So there's an element I'll exaggerate and say at large, and they certainly don't fear much. That answer I can.
Thank you.
And if I could, while Paul's here, to share with the board, and Paul, to help me clarify, or at least put your mind at ease, I just want to clarify that, as far as the communication for our PD, make no mistake about it, we're in very, very close communication with, especially in this case, with the BOW region, Woodbridge, Orange, Bethany, we're very close. Actually, the chiefs and Dave Merriam and I, we have besides on a personal relation, we have a very close professional relation, and also with the school. And so right from the get-go with this, we were involved with all the towns, and when we discovered, without getting into the details of the investigation, but discovered some information that, your particular case and some others that might have occurred in our town also extended over into the neighboring communities. We immediately reached out to them, and during our interviews with some of the suspects and people involved in all this, the investigators involved were not only from here, but were detectives from the neighboring community too. So they're all, we're all involved, and there's no hesitation or problem with communication on that level, and that's all been shared with the high school. And also, as far as the on the federal level, the FBI did reach out to us, and I know your family also reached out to them, and we've been in communication with them since the first or second day, right from the get-go, when they heard about it, and right currently to the present, where they are physically involved with us up until just prior to this meeting this evening, and they'll be back joining our guys in the morning too. So, I just want to put your mind at ease with that. There's, as far as the multi-jurisdictional end of it, it's that's the easy part, getting all of us together.
I greatly appreciate it, and one thing I want to share, early on, what frustrated us and kind of scared us, I think I mentioned to you and to Rob, was that that first glance, it was deemed teen romance gone awry. So, those of you who know me as a parent, I am a very tough parent. So my first reaction was to my daughter, "What'd you do? What happened?" So she's, floored that Dad is, challenging her, which obviously breaks my heart now. But I kept saying, "Who is involved?" On the romance side, she's like, "I have absolutely no idea." So that's what, I think. I don't know why that was assumed early on or how it got connected, but that was what we felt was the most dangerous part, because it wasn't boys will be boys, kids will be kids, some jilted lover. I mean, I'm sure in some corner of Amity, a boy broke up with a girl broke up with whatever, how it worked out, and they're pissed off, but this became so much more and so quickly.
So you had the kids at your house on Saturday? Did they give you a reason why they picked your house? I mean, just so that, because I'm kind of curious, if you had them all there and you had them all called on the carpet with the parents, there had to be some.
I didn't press the issue. My daughter was terrified. She wouldn't even come out of her bed. My daughter is 5'8", and she will get in your face. She was terrified to come out of her bedroom. So we didn't force her. They said it was random. You can, infer what you'd like. the parents are the parents were genuinely livid. I would hope and I would assume that they took matters into their own hands in their own household. But when you're dealing with teens, not every parent has total control of their teen, and they said it was totally random. Because what I said to them, as well as last night, was, if you guys by accident went to the wrong house in town, we could have a funeral now instead of a meeting, because someone could have opened the window and shot you. And that's where it is in 2018. None of us want that. So, did my comments matter? I don't know. I pray that it's the most amazing life lesson, learning experience for those 5 kids, and they're so below the radar for the rest of the time at Amby, nobody knows they exist. Because I know the parents will do their part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry that happened.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard? Okay. Closing public comment. Move on to the financial report.
Good night, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so for the financial report, obviously we're a third of the way done with this fiscal year and appear to be right on target overall. We're at 32.3% of our budget used thus far. I know Commissioner Falsigos, you had a question last month about the line, the labor and negotiations line 52140 about that one. So I checked with Tony, Mr. Genovese, the finance director, to get clarification on it, and the way he explained it, hopefully this makes it clear. Our portion of the labor consultant's budget is,
So you portion it?
I'm sorry,
It's a portion?
our portion is $22,580.
Okay.
Right, and he said that's, set by the town, it's out of our control. And so we've, as the budget that you have in front of you, we've paid out like $9,400 of it.
So you portions it over your budget in almost like an installment.
Yeah,
Right.
so in the 13,000 is the encumbered amount. And I guess the question arose about the 100% at the end, what's that? And it just means that, he said 100% of it means that even though it hasn't all been paid out yet, it's all accounted for, the whole 100% is
Right,
accounted
that's what I
for.
kind of figured.
That explains it, so
Yeah.
I hope that makes it easier.
Chief, where do we stand with the overtime for the murder investigation?
Another investigation?
Is that still a cost that we're incurring?
It's a cost that's nowhere near what it was from the initial onset of it, but it's still a cost, and it's actually still progressing on different levels, state and federal. So there'll be some costs incurred with that as we proceed, but not like it was before.
What is our monthly liability for that approximately? Do you have a ballpark? If you don't, that's fine.
I don't really know, because it varies month to month if something happens, but when we get to the federal level now, we just kind of got to that level last month, and when I went there were some things that the U.S. Attorney's Office asked to be done at short notice and actually over the weekend with them. And but right now it's kind of status quo during the week, during regular working hours, so it's not over the top. That's,
So if the overtime, according to the line item,
Mhm.
it's about a third of the way through the fiscal year, and we're just about half
Correct.
of the allocation. Do
Right.
you think it's going to slow down? And I think that's what Rob is getting at, because there was the murder investigation spiked it.
Yeah, but
Later on.
yes, but not so much the murder investigation, because that pretty much, it's not taking a bulk of it. Like, what's putting us over the top with that is the agreement that the town entered into with the sergeants and covering the lieutenant's vacancy and all that. And actually, if you figure it out, if you take where we're at and you take out what we've paid so far to cover the sergeant having patrol, if you subtract that amount of money, we'd be at 29.5% of the overtime. So that's kind of what's putting us over now, and that's with 3 vacancies. So if we were full staff, it'd even be less. But what's putting us over the top now is that agreement, because that was all done subsequent to the budget being adopted.
You're talking about the 15,000?
No, it's not 15, it's, I think, 3,500 each?
Well, it's
No,
15,000 total.
not that beside, no, not that, I'm talking
I
about,
was gonna say,
one of the
that should be-
stipulations was that the sergeant won't have a patrol any
Oh,
longer.
okay.
So he'd be a supervisor. So when we get down to that level, when it's just a sergeant and an officer, we'd offer somebody to fill that position, so there'd be 2 officers and a sergeant, and that's what's creating the overtime.
Where was the stipend reflected on, the sergeant's stipend reflected on the
Yeah,
budget?
where does that get reflected?
That should go into the salary, right?
It
'Cause
doesn't,
it's not-
it was added to their
it's
salary.
not an overtime
Their base
stipend, it's just a
salary.
base.
So,
So that means you had to adjust your base salary, right? But you already had the budget approved. So
Right,
you're
the
gonna
budget was
be-
approved.
You're
and
gonna
this
be,
agreement was
you're gonna be
after
more
the
than
budget, so it's
100%
just
at
gonna
the
come
end
out
on
that
your,
line, correct.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
over 100% on your budget for that
it'll be over
particular line item.
15,000, we think, or whatever.
Right, should be
35 times
15,000.
5.
It will be,
Maybe
but then it might get
18,000.
offset because we've had some vacancies, you know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
yeah, but if we were up to full staff and we did that, yes,
Okay.
correct. Yep.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the report.
Second?
All those in favor? Steve?
Yeah, I just, so, not to belabor
Yeah.
that, and I apologize for doing so. Walk me through that one more time with the overtime with the sergeant and the,
Right, so one of the agreements that, the town entered into with them was that a sergeant, because they were taking on added responsibilities, they
I
were.
remember the 3,500, I don't remember that, that's why I'm
Yeah, no, it's in there, it's in.
I'm not,
it's,
I didn't.
I actually don't remember that either, but
Yeah.
I just remember the 3,500.
I remember the
Or-
3,500.
Yeah, it's in the record, it's on the record.
Yeah, that's-
And it's
I'm not- I'm certainly
it's
not
on the
questioning.
agreed to. You-
Yeah, I'm
you
not
guys-
questioning you.
So that's where that comes from. So if the sergeant has a patrol, and the problem is, on top of that, it's compounded because we're short, so there's more times than not that they might have a patrol. And especially if somebody takes vacation or whatever. So when it gets down to being only a sergeant and a patrolman, the agreement was we would offer to fill the patrolman position with somebody, so the sergeant wouldn't have to have a patrol. And that's, becomes an overtime situation, and that's it ends up being costly.
Any other
But that
questions?
won't happen when we're close to full, right? At full staff.
Not as often, but
It'll be
with,
kind of an
you know, with
anomaly.
vacations and stuff, it will, but it won't be as often as it is now.
Okay.
That's
All
perfect,
right.
yeah.
So I'll make a motion.
We made a motion. It was seconded. We're waiting for your vote,
So I
actually.
guess I'll go.
So now it's a four.
Okay, now it's a,
4-0? Okay.
it's 4
Thank
to
thank
0.
you.
Okay.
4
Activity report.
Activity report, during last month, we had 4 burglaries. We had one on the 22nd of October, I think that's the one I sent you a press release on, the initial press release on that, we were trying to identify the suspect. That occurred on Newton Road at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The resident and his wife returned home, went inside, resident was in his bedroom. All of a sudden, an unknown male came out of the bathroom, and they had a little confrontation that ended up outside in the driveway, and they got into a scuffle and a fight. The person fled northbound on Newton Road. They had plates on the car, and, wrong plates on the car. These guys were able to do some legwork and track it down somewhat. And they're working with police in Bridgeport and Stanford. They were able to make an identification of the suspect. And they obtained an arrest warrant and search warrant, and they actually made an arrest on him, picked him up Friday afternoon, and he was here all weekend, and they brought him to court yesterday morning for arraignment. And on the 21st, we had a forcible commercial burglary at a salon on the Lower Litchfield Turnpike, and the detective, it was like 5:30 in the morning, the Detective Bureau is working with the some of the area towns that are experiencing similar incidents and similar methods of entry. And we have 2 other daytime burglaries that happened in 2 of the 2 separate office buildings down in the business area. And those were pretty much attributed to somebody that was loitering around the area, went into 2 offices while people were working or they're in the back office and that.
Can I ask, was that in the Bradley Road area or?
They were, one was in the, yeah, they were in the Bradley Road, yeah, they were right in that area right there, yes. That's the Miami Road area. On the evening of the 25th, we received a report of a possible gunshot victim that was forwarded from to our department from the Stratford Police. They were notified that a person had showed up to the Bridgeport Hospital emergency room with a gunshot wound to the hand. Stratford investigated it, and they were, from what they could gather, it happened at a home here in Woodbridge. Our guys responded there in the evening. The house was vacant. They made entry into the house, and down in the basement they found some blood drops and some blood in the area. So they investigated further, got in touch with the homeowner. Long and short of it is when it all shook out, it ended up being a contractor that was working using a nail gun in a house that was being renovated. He shot himself through the hand, and he drove himself to the hospital, and it wasn't really an actual gunshot. That's what he was. The guy was back on the job the next day. And the larcenies, we had a few larcenies, but the two significant ones were, we had 2 trailers stolen from a local business down in Lower Amity Road on the overnight hours, one on the 31st and one on the 21st of October. I believe on both of those, the officers on patrol when checking their buildings found that the cable or fence had been breached. One of the trailers is still missing. The second trailer was recovered in the area. And in conjunction with that, you'll see that we have 2 stolen vehicles. Those were both involved with these trailer thefts. One was stolen from a service station in the area and used to steal one of the trailers. Unfortunately, that vehicle was being serviced because it had a bad transmission, so they got stuck. And they tried to steal another vehicle, and I guess they were floating around the area, but I think they saw the police there and they abandoned that vehicle and took off. So we recovered both vehicles, one of the trailers, and awaiting forensic evidence on that to hopefully lead us further on that. Report for ISU during the month of October, they picked up 19 new cases. They have the burglary case, the trailer theft cases, the stolen vehicle cases, and the motor vehicle. Just a couple motor vehicle break-ins. They made an arrest on a juvenile with that. They made some arrests on juveniles from past motor vehicle thefts based on evidence that came back from the lab. And they also arrested a fugitive from justice who was wanted on an outstanding warrant from New Jersey. As we mentioned, they're still moving forward with the homicide on the state and federal levels. They have some different arrest warrants that are pressing for applications at court for from larcenies and a stolen motor vehicle, and they had 35 fingerprint requests come in during the month. As for our school resource officers, both Officer Sapione and Officer Lynch have been busy at their respective schools. For last month, it was busy. It was business as usual for both of them, which is a good thing. For this month, Officer Sapione's been very busy over at the high school with all that's happened in the last several days. But other than that, nothing of really significant issues that have occurred at the high school prior to that. And as far as officers' motor vehicle activity, it was addressed last month with the sergeants and by the deputy chief and with the sergeants, and there was an increase of some of the officers that we had spoken to about it. And overall, the activities is not really inconsistent. So nothing unusual with that. And that's all I have for activity.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Frank, I just have one question. The motor vehicle activity for October seems rather low.
Well, a couple of them were up. There might have been some people that were out.
I mean, in the context of the stops for an entire month. Four, 1, 0,
From,
9, 5.
I don't think I got that sheet.
well, overall, they're up 22 from the month before, I believe, right? From September, so that's what I was referring to. From September to October, I think.
I don't have
think
September, I just
they're
have
up, yeah,
October.
they're up 22 stops. Some of those zeros are like, you gotta go across to see who they are, like the sergeants
Like
don't
Modena.
count. The SRO at the at the school, he's not.
Right.
Those people are there. One of those officers is out on, I don't know his name, but he's out on family leave, so he's not even here. And he's one that's usually active. So that's where we are. All those zeros are people that are out of the loop.
No, I understand the top part, but I'm looking at the names from the middle down.
Yeah, and then and then also you gotta look over to the total number of stops. So, you know, some are arrests and some are also, not everybody that stopped gets an arrest. You know what I mean? There's written warnings and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the stops are the stops.
Overall, they're up 22, you know, they're up. That's all we can ask for is we're going in the right direction.
Okay.
We have a second?
All those in favor? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to your report, Frank.
Yeah, update on the carport project. The carport is moving forward. The delivery of the materials was anticipated at the middle of this month, and actually tomorrow morning at 9 I have a pre-construction meeting with Tony Genovese and the construction company's project manager. So I'm anticipating, hopefully anticipating that by our next meeting you'll see some progress out here. Hopefully see it up. So that's moving forward. Since our last meeting, I was notified by the state DOT that our agency was once again eligible to apply for fundings through the Connecticut Highway Safety Grant Program that we used to apply for, and we started applying for it most recently. I discussed it over with Tony after I received it, and it's again these grants that were the last couple ones we were receiving, and this one. Current one that we just received, it's 100% reimbursement, so other than putting the money out, the town gets fully reimbursed, so there's no cost. Tony was on board with it. This specific grant allows us to put extra officers on patrol at no cost between certain dates, and it begins in November of this month with the holiday, Thanksgiving holiday, and it goes all the way through into Labor Day, so September of 2019. And the dates coincide with various holiday seasons. They tell us when the parameters, when you have to use the money, the funding for. And it's for traffic enforcement efforts concentrated on seatbelt enforcement, DUI, and distracted driving. So because we're under the gun with that, we applied for the grant, and I was notified just a week or so ago that we're awarded the funding if we choose to participate in the program. So it's my recommendation that we do participate with this. It gives us a chance to work on highway safety. It gives us extra body on patrol, or at least available in the event of an emergency. So I just need the board's approval to say that's fine.
Make a motion to
Motion
participate.
approved. For a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
What is that grant called, Chief?
I'm sorry?
What is that grant called?
It's called the, actually, following right here. It's state project number 0199-0722-CZ. It's the comprehensive DUI enforcement grant. But it's through the Department of Highway Safety. Highway Safety Plan.
Department of Highway Safety.
The next thing I have is an update on the memorandum of understandings for the SROs at both Amity and Beecher. As you know, the last couple of months, and more specifically last month, we signed off on the Beecher MOU, and I got it over to Superintendent Gilbert, and he took care of it, and their chairman of the Woodbridge Board of Ed signed off on it, so that's all finalized. And as you asked, I shared a copy of the language that we used at Beecher with the principal man at the high school.
Were they okay with that?
I'm sorry?
Were they okay with that?
She looked at it, she didn't say whether she was okay with it or not, but she felt kind of like I was thinking that's probably, since the superintendent's the one that's going to sign off on it, that we, it would be her decision. So they're in that transition period with the new superintendent starting, so she'll share with her as she gets her feet on the ground, and then we'll, I'm going to have a meeting with her too, and then we'll go from there. But I at least presented it, and they have it in there. And the last thing I have is the dispatch update. In conjunction with the townwide simulcast radio system upgrade, the new, I'm happy to say our new radio consoles were installed in the front in our dispatch area. There's a new one at both positions there. It's all computerized. It's all state of the art. You click on the various features using a mouse, so it eliminated all the mechanical buttons and all the parts that we're having a lot of failures with that they don't even have the replacement parts with. So I think it'll take the mechanical error aspect out of any problems that we had before. The dispatchers had some training with it. They had some on-the-job training with it, and I believe that it seems like it's working good. We haven't had any problems. I think they're finding it, they're pleased with it, and with the new technology and the new system, there's a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning, and we kept a couple of dispatchers on together when we first transitioned over. So, but all in all, it's working out well. No complaints from anybody with that.
Yeah, I think so.
And just an update with the fire dispatch. I know we've been talking about it for some time now in the card sets. And pretty much as I reported last month, we've completed the training on it. And I was in discussion last month, and since our last meeting with Mr. Ryan, the labor consultant, and actually as recent as just last Friday with the first selectman, and at this point we're just, I'm just waiting to get the okay of how we're going to proceed forward with what plans in light of a labor issue that's pending with the dispatchers union. And but my plan, as I said, was to move forward with, get the cards that's into play, and utilize AMR to assist us doing the pre-arrival instructions so we can maximize the efficiency of the staff we have. But as soon as the decision's made on that, I'll let you know. We'll move in one direction or the other. And that's all I have with that.
A motion to approve the future
moved.
board. Second, any discussion, questions? Steve?
Nope.
Matt?
No.
Maybe no? Okay. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Next.
Next, executive session. Before we contemplate going to executive session, what's the general nature of the topics? Because I'm a little bit sensitive to executive session issues.
It's
now.
well, just as it says, personnel matters regarding the hiring of the certified officers.
Is it in regards to particular applicants or just generically about?
No, the two applicants that came before the subcommittee.
Okay. So is there a motion to move to executive session?
Yes, make a motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
What do you want?
Unanimous?
Just the chief, right?
Just the chief and the commissioners. At 6:54, after being in executive session to discuss details of two potential certified officer applicants. Since we're not voting on any action that we're taking, so.
No, just that you, the conditional offer for one.
So that's what we decided.
Yeah, okay. Is there a motion to extend a conditional offer to applicant Michael Mastro-Petre?
So,
So moved.
In a second, all those in favor, unanimous?
I don't know who you picked for the first and the second.
Just,
oh, 3 first, 3 second.
are there any personal matters?
No, that's all.
Budget? That's,
And under budget, just two quick things. The capital budget, as was approved at our last meeting, with the 4 projects, the computers, 1 vehicle, security camera upgrade, and building upgrade. That's all been turned in and submitted to the finance director at the beginning of this month, so he has that in hand. And we're tentatively scheduled to present it to the Board of Finance on Thursday, November 29th. I look forward to any support that the commission.
What's the date, 29th?
Yeah,
When is
it's
it?
a Thursday,
I'll send you an
November
email.
29th.
Thank you.
We just, we'll know the time as it gets closer, and so once we know the, once we know the date and time, I'll Janice will.
Well, I'll send you
Go
an
ahead.
email.
Yeah.
If you can, we would appreciate
What
it.
time-ish?
You never know, because Karen has to
Yeah,
sit by the
usually-
department, you know, her
Okay.
department, yeah.
All right.
She allocates a certain amount of time.
We'll keep you posted, as I hear.
Oh, yeah.
As
It's
soon as we hear.
before 8 in the morning, I'm there.
Yeah, now we wish.
Mm.
And then the second thing on the budget is the operating budget. You know, the Deputy Chief and I started gathering information for the preparation of the operating budget. It's usually doing finance right after the holidays, so we're working on that. We'll just pretty much continue it the way it is with the layout as it is for 25 sworn officers. The one thing that I'm looking to get in there, and I talked to the finance director about it, our service weapons are beginning to reach the end of their serviceable use. They're like 8 years old, and at 10 years, the company recommends that they get a complete overhaul. And so that's the decision we were toying with. Do we want to put the money and then all the labor with one arm, or have them do the work to repair the guns, or
What's the difference
go
between
with the
repairing a gun and buying a new one?
It depends what we go to. We're only going to save a few $100s. If we don't buy brand new ones, then we'll be good for another 10
A few
years.
$100s per gun?
Yeah. And then what we're talking about is,
How many guns are you talking about?
there's like, there's 25 officers, a few spears, and then there's 5 cut down, more compact versions for the admin and the detectives. So there's probably 35 weapons altogether, something like that, more or less. I have the exact numbers, I have to get them. But, and we're also looking into, there could be a savings on that, because we're weighing the options of keeping the gun that we have and replacing that with new ones, or changing to a different model, which a lot of agencies are going to, the Glocks, like New Haven, and I believe some of the other towns are going to. They have larger capacity and there's a lot of studies being done about change of ballistics going from 45 versus 9mm. So that's something that we've been sorting out
Any
for the last
grants
couple of months. I'm sorry?
Are any grants available?
No, we haven't been able to find any grants.
No.
It's just, but the
Any
market's
asset
pretty.
forfeiture money that you can use, or is that something?
Well,
that
there
you
is,
can
like,
do?
you know, and I discussed that with Tony, but this is kind of an operating thing. We just use our $20,000 for the license plate reader. We don't totally deplete all our asset forfeiture money, but he thought as an operating budget it would.
Well, maybe just to pay for the difference that you'd be spending, you know, maybe just to offset the,
Difference of.
Well,
between repair and replace.
right, between replace. In other words, if you're replacing, it costs, I don't know,
Right.
X
no,
amount of
I know
dollars per
what you're
gun,
saying,
and you have your $200 differential
Right.
times 35, so.
yeah, we could, we'll figure something out, but that's something, one way or another, we need to move on and do something with it. We won't be stuck with, even once we get them, we'd have to train and.
Yeah, but you don't want to burden your budget with $7,000 that you don't have to, if there's a way to figure something different. A different way of doing it, or a different way to amortize the money, or to find the money, you know?
So is there any way to recoup some of the expense? If you replace the guns that were
Yeah,
used?
they'll give us a good trade-in value.
I was gonna say,
Yes,
so,
that's the thing.
so it's not a
Or-
complete
So,
loss?
yeah, so that's the.
Well,
yeah,
I'm just saying, but he told me there's a $200 differential.
No, as opposed to
No, I'm just-
repairing, replacing, is that including that?
Right, that includes
That
the,
amount?
Yeah, that's counting the trade.
Oh,
No matter
okay.
what we do, what we buy, there's a trade, so
Right,
there's gonna
okay.
be a cost
Right.
associated with, no matter what kind of gun we do, definitely, yeah. They're not gonna give
I'm
us.
sure you can negotiate a better deal than $200 differential. I mean,
We'll try.
we
We'll see what we have the numbers, and that, that's just a number I kind of threw out there, it's in the area of 200,000, depends on what you get.
You spent
what
a whole
models, like
career
buying a car.
negotiating, why can't you negotiate?
I would do it. If someone let me, I would do it.
Yeah, I think we should.
I would do it.
Put you to work.
No problem.
You go half of
It's like
this?
buying tenderloins.
You go half of this?
Sure, it's just like Tenderloins, isn't it?
Item's an item, right?
Sure.
Packing
So
heat,
that's
packing meat,
something we'll be
Same
looking at.
Close enough.
Sam.
Yeah.
That was clever.
So we'll keep you
She's
posted.
sharper than us.
She is sharp. I like that. That was pretty good.
And that's
Put
all.
that-
No, if you want me to help, I'll gladly participate if you'd like me to.
So the last thing we gotta approve the
It'd be
budget.
fun to
Oh,
negotiate
yeah, and
something.
the last thing other than new business, Janice has the 2019 meeting schedule.
I'm reluctant to vote on it without Dr. Desir because she has had a lot of conflicts.
Okay, the only thing I do have to say though is that if we do not have a, full board at the next meeting, it still has to be submitted to the town clerk by the beginning of
She
December.
needed the not first Tuesday of the month, so this is not the first Tuesday, so that at least we know.
Yeah, I don't know that that was the only conflict. I know there
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
we can carry it to December, I'm just
Yes,
letting
I'd
you
like to
know
do
that
that.
we're required
That's
to have
So
it in by
the
the end
si-
of December.
The 6:15 might be an issue because if it's not, unless you want to change the day. But Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month, I have to leave to go to another meeting, usually around 10 after 7.
Well, that's why we're gonna
Wednesdays?
finish by 10 after 7.
Oh. Or a different day of the week, or do we want to keep?
It's really, you guys can talk about it, I don't,
Well, we're not gonna decide anyway tonight, so
right,
we'll
that's fine,
deal with
but
it
I'm
next
just
time.
Okay.
putting that in your bonnet. So,
Okay.
all right.
Is
And
there
I know
any
you
old
have,
business?
you need to start at 6:15, right?
It's gonna get hard for me to get here before 6:15, but I could come late.
I'd rather accommodate everyone if we can.
Yeah,
We can
maybe.
figure that out.
Yeah.
We have a month to figure this out.
Or maybe go back to the first Tuesday?
No,
Yeah,
Debbie
that's-
couldn't.
She
Oh,
can't.
Debbie
Yeah,
could.
that doesn't.
Maybe the
that-
third
that's hard for us
Tuesday.
to
Is
do.
yours second
I
Tuesday?
don't care, yeah. It doesn't matter to me.
So third Tuesday or
Or maybe a
Wednesdays?
Monday, maybe just to consider it between now and next meeting, 'cause
All right.
I won't be here on the 11th, so.
You won't.
Oh, good, we'll vote for whatever.
Right, and whatever's
You
most.
can't
Whatever
do
day
the
you
second
can't be
Tuesday,
here.
right.
See, now, is that bipartisan? I don't think so.
Woo. All right,
So you won't be here for the December meeting? Okay.
11th, yeah. So if you need a vote on something, I mean, I can come for the first 20 minutes or so, but I have to be somewhere.
Yeah, we'll probably.
actually, that
we
might be
vote
good, so
on
we can
that,
do the schedule.
Hopefully on an app.
If you want, sure.
Right, but we don't need all 5.
No.
Okay.
Okay, is there any old business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And it's
Second.
not yet 6:10, or 7:10. Is there a
Right.
second? Yes. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you all.
Thank you all, happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving,
Very much.
everyone.
Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
So if I don't see you guys.